everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff, and welcome to another ranking video. So this one's going to be a little bit different. This one's going to be made up of a couple of different parts. The first part right here, I'm filming from my childhood home. I'm visiting family right now. One of my younger brothers graduated high school this weekend, and right now everyone else is taking a nap. And I came and dug out my old box of terrible knives. Now, I've made videos on the contents of this box before in the past. I'll link those videos and the end screens and down in the description. But it occurred to me that if I want to make videos ranking different knives in my collection, technically these knives are part of my collection. So while I'm up here, I'm going to rank them. And today's video is ranking every fixed blade I own. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look through this box, pull out all the fixed blades, rank them, and then I'll film another section of this video when I'm back home, back at my house down south, and we'll rank the rest of my collection, the stuff that I have down there. Yeah, this should be fun. This could be a very long video, so let's not waste any more time. We're ranking everything on an S to F tier list. S tier, of course, being the best of the best, untouchable, absolutely god tier, near perfection, if not perfection knives. A tier are knives that are amazing, a cut above the rest. A for amazing, great knives. B are knives that are above average. These are really, really good knives that stand out. C, average knives. There's nothing wrong with them, but there's nothing that makes them stand out from a crowd. D are knives that are a little bit below average. Maybe not dangerous, but, knives that I would say to stay away from. And F tier are going to be the worst of the worst. Knives you should not buy for any reason whatsoever. These knives will make you a worse person just for owning them. Also, this is the tier that, dangerous, bad designs go in. So, let's go ahead and start this list off. And do I want to start with this one that's right on top? You know what? No, we're not gonna go that far just yet. That's too audacious. You know what? Let's actually start here. And this is a knife that I actually might take back south with me. This is a knife that I've missed. We're starting with a Schrade Sharpfinger. I reviewed this knife a long, long time ago, and I should probably do a re-review on this. I actually want to get one of the Heritage ones that has D2 steel, but let's talk about the Schrade Sharpfinger. This is one of the most common knives that I saw growing up, and I have owned a couple of these. My dad, my grandpa, my great-grandpa, my uncles, I think everyone I know probably owns 3 or 4 of these. I think this is the only one that has survived my collection. I do know a couple of the ones that I owned met horrible fates or got lost, but a lot of guys that I knew carried these. This is a knife I was very familiar with growing up. I'm going to try not to spend too long talking about knives. Again, this is going to be a very long video, but that's what my channel's about, is talking about knives. This is one of the things that I enjoy about this channel. So you know what? I'm just going to talk as long as I have something to say, and yeah, anyways. What do I like about this knife? Super comfortable. Very, very comfortable. I do like the size. This is a knife that a lot of guys carry as an EDC. This is a pretty popular, a pretty common hunting knife. I've seen guys break down elk with these multiple times. This is a simple, one of the plain ones. I think the blade steel on these is 7CR. Very basic leather sheath. This one is not made in the USA. Pretty sure, yeah, this is not a USA-made Schrade. Actually, just a second. All right, so I went and pestered my dad for this. He actually does not have a Sharpfinger anymore. This is what he has kept a hold of. And this is a USA-made Schrade knife. I can't remember what this pattern is called. You guys let me know in the comments. But yeah, oh my gosh, this knife has been sharpened a lot. Like a lot. kind of wacky grinds on there now. But this one feels so good in the hand. Look at that. That's this knife is probably broken down a lot of animals. And the sheath is even a little bit upgraded on this knife. But yeah, this is not part of my collection. I just remembered that my dad had this. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go and ask my dad if he has any of his old timers. And he doesn't have any sharp fingers, but he does have this. And I just kind of want to show that off. So you can really feel the difference between the USA made ones and the Chinese made ones. And this is a newer knife. I have no idea when this one was made. We have, it says USA 1580T. I think that's the model number. But yeah, very, very cool knife. One of these days I'll get my dad on here to show off some of his knives. Oh boy, this is going to be a long video, and I'm going to make multiple videos out of this box today. I'm going to be doing a lot of recording right now. That's okay. That's okay. You guys will like the content. These will be fun videos. Okay, so where am I going to rank this knife? This is a classic knife, and there's a lot to like about this. Again, the size and the ergos are really, really good. I am not a huge fan of the blade shape. I'm not a huge fan of the cutting profile. Not a huge fan of the sheath, but this is a legendary knife, and there's a lot to love here. There's a lot to appreciate. My gut instinct is to put this at C tier, just to kind of set a standard. Between this and the other knife that I just was showing, my dad's knife, I would probably put that knife as like an A-, B+. This one, I think we are going to start off with a C. This is setting a midline. This is a good knife. This is a fine knife. I see people carrying these all the time. I'm like, good for you. You've got a good knife. But I do think that it is pretty easy to find something better. Some people might really take umbrage with that take, but that's where I'm going to stand. Schrade Sharpfinger, Chinese-made version. Maybe the USA-made one would be different, but Schrade Sharpfinger, that's going to be a C tier. Right down the middle, setting us off on a good baseline. All right, let's keep moving forward, shall we? Okay, let's go to this one next. Oh, and this is actually a USA-made knife that I forgot I had. Anyways, this is a knife that I got when I worked as a knife salesman. Long story. But this is the Fisherman's Solution. And this is a big old fillet knife. Let me know if you guys want me to review this sometime. There you go. Made by Cutco. This is, again, made in the USA. The sheath is kind of interesting. You have a sharpening stone on the back, and you have this little cutout in the sheath that the blade, gives you access to the edge. And so you can cut your fishing line on there. And then if we undo this secondary strap here, the sheath turns into, little clampers. So you can, hold on to your catch and stuff. Honestly, kind of a cool little knife. And then this thing has a gimmick too, where you flip this switch out and you can make it a massive, massive fillet knife. You can take it from, 6 inches to 9 inches. Yeah. Pretty cool. Very comfortable handle. Is that really effective? I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is way more fillet knife than I ever feel like I need to use. I've never taken this fishing with me. Ever. I've only been deep sea fishing once. After I graduated high school, me and some friends, we'd saved up since 7th grade, and we took a trip to Hawaii, and we did go and we did some mahi-mahi fishing, which was fun. But this is way more knife than I need for filleting. I tried to give this knife to my dad and being like, hey, you can use this with my dad's a large animal veterinarian. You can use this with your necropsy kit and stuff. I know he uses fillet knives for certain cuts, and he didn't want it. He didn't really like it that much, so there we go. This is a hard one because, I guess it does some cool things. I just don't know how practical the cool gimmicks on this are. It does seem to be well made. The handle ergonomics are pretty good. But but I don't really have much experience with it. I think we're going to have to put this one in C tier as well, just because, I don't know, I don't have a good, I don't have enough experience with that knife, but I don't feel comfortable putting it any lower than C tier. But I also, because haven't used it, don't feel comfortable putting it any higher. So that's where it's going to sit for now. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, let's grab this one. This is another old timer. This is a knife that was given to me for Christmas several years ago, I believe, by my cousin Austin. And this was my hunting knife for a while. Came with a little folding knife too. And I gotta say, Teenage Gideon, sharpened this quite a few times, and it's recurving here because I didn't know what I was doing. There's some edge damage here. It actually does need to be sharpened again. This is a very plain knife. In fact, it's almost kind of like a throwing knife. It just kind of has these little wood scales slapped on there. But it's not a bad design. It does fit in the hand pretty well. Hollow grind here. I'm not sure what the steel is. Probably 7CR. Scales are a little bit wobbly. I do like how it kind of has a continuous arc all the way down. The ergonomic lines are fine, but I really do not like the sharpness of the scale of the tang. But I have used this knife to break down game, especially a lot of rabbits, I think. I think I actually broke down a coyote with this too. And deer, anyways. Cool knife. Cool knife. I've got a lot of nostalgic feelings for it. Where do I put it though? You know, my gut instinct was going to be to do another C tier. Yeah, it's going to be a C tier. It's going to be another C tier. Just an average knife. I mean, it'll get your knife jobs done. Okay. Machete. This machete, look how rounded the sawback is. The coating here feels like rubbery. The coating on the blade feels rubbery. The edge doesn't really start until about here. Even though it looks like it's sharpened back there, it's not. And it's super, super thick. Very, very trashy handle. Look, these aren't even actual screws. That is a screw right there. That's a screw. That's a screw. The rest of these those are fake. Those are just for looks, I guess. You can see the handles like starting to come off. I think I bought this when my cousin and I were doing a lot of landscaping, like yard work for different people, and I don't remember using it once. I had another machete that I used to use quite a bit for clearing sagebrush and stuff, but yeah, and look at the horrible fitment. And look at all the like little plasticky bits like sticking off. Look at how uneven that is. Where are we going to put this one? I think we're going to put this one in D tier. I was going to say F tier, but we're going to put this one in D tier because if I remember right too, this is like $5. This is not a good knife. I would not recommend you get one of these, but I do think that technically you could use this for a little bit before it broke on you. It would not perform well, but you could get some work done with that. Yeah, we'll do D tier for that. I don't recommend it, but we'll do D tier. Next up. This is a Tractor Supply knife. Look, this sheath doesn't have any belt loops. I'm not sure if that was a mistake or if that was intentional. Maybe it's intentional. Maybe they're trying to tell you not to carry this because, yeah, you should not carry this. So let's undo the little button snap and then the zipper. Are you ready for this? I promise you're not. So we have like this ribbon that's wrapped around some like black tape over like these two little like wooden blocks in there. I'm not sure if you guys have ever had a Mall Ninja type knife that does that, but it's atrocious. It's horrible. Not a way to do a knife handle at all. Super thin, super uncomfortable. I mean, look how thin this whole thing is. I see so many stress points here where it could break. I mean, the paint on the blade. I mean, can you see how globby that is there on the spine? It's like literal globs. These are not serrations here. This thing's atrocious. Atrocious. A tier. No, I'm just kidding. F tier. This is an F tier knife for sure. And look, you can actually see on the sheath every time I pull it out, I'm like slicing right there. Yeah, not a great knife. But man, 15-year-old Gideon thought that was cool. Ran to Tractor Supply after work sometime with my $10, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get that knife. That's going to be so cool. Because kids are dumb. Oh, and how could I forget? It actually does come with some throwing stars. We're going to just lump the throwing star. We're not going to rank the throwing stars separately. I guess technically they would be other fixed blades that I own, but we're just going to keep them all together. F tier. Need I say more? No, I don't think so. F tier, I think we were all expecting it. Next up. Ooh, this looks pretty, right? This is a Mossy Oak Bowie, and I just love when they do multiple sheath retention attachment points. Isn't that just great? Doesn't that just make you feel like you have a high quality knife? Very, very stiff, very cheap, low quality leather. Kind of smells like ass. And there's the knife. Not a bad looking knife. Steel on this is probably 8CR. Very weird, lumpy, faux stag handle. Yeah. You know, I might actually have to make an amendment to my list. I think we're going to have to add an E tier. We're going to have to add an E tier. And here's why. I was considering putting this knife in C tier. I'm like, it's kind of an average knife, but I really don't think so. I do not like the ergos on this knife. The ergos feel atrocious. This thing feels like it wants to twist in your hand. I know the blade won't hold up to that much use. You could probably get a little bit of use out of this knife, right? You could probably get a little bit of use out of it. But it's just not, it just has something about it that just feels wrong. But is it as bad as this? No. But it's not as good as a sharp finger, so I don't really want to put it in C tier. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this in D tier, and we're going to put this in the newly erected E tier. So, yeah. D is don't buy. This knife, I would not recommend anyone go out and buy one, but if you happen to have one, you're given one or whatever, it could be worse. Like, if you want to use this, okay, go ahead. Or if this is all you can get access to, maybe this is all that fits in your budget, or this is, just all you can find in your location, okay, go for it. But there's much better stuff out there. This, though, in E tier is going to be even worse. I would avoid these, but they are not as bad as the absolute trash ends up in F tier. There we go. All right, we gotta start seeing some better knives here pretty soon, guys, because we're getting pretty low on the spectrum. We'll see better knives in the second half of this video. All right, next up we have this knife here, classic nylon sheath. I think this came from a Bud K catalog. 440 steel. We've got a little skull bead on the lanyard, which is actually kind of cool. I might actually take that bead off and use it on another lanyard somewhere. Very, very chunky, rubberized handle. I think the tang of this knife is broken, like right here. Yeah, this is not a good knife. This is not a good knife. Um, is it F tier? Nah, you know what? We're gonna put this in E tier. We're gonna put that in E tier. Nothing to write home about with that knife at all. Pretty standard, just garbage. Okay. Where to next, friends? Where to next? Oh wow, there's some knives in there's some knives in here that I forgot about that will appear in other videos. Oh, okay, I guess we'll grab this. I think I've got a couple. Yeah, this one, and this one. Okay. Here we have 3 Ozark Trail knives. And these are all the same knife. I think actually this one has a different blade shape. Yeah, this one has a clip point. The other 2 are drop points. Yeah. I'm not sure why I still have these. I used to have several of these and I gave a lot of them away. These are just fine. These are just fine knives. I do like the ergos quite a bit. These are actually very, very comfortable. Very simple fixed blades, 5CR steel probably. Hollow grinds here, clip point, drop point blades. Very, very simple. The sheaths are kind of trash. In fact, yeah, they're not great sheaths, but the knives themselves are, they're okay. What makes these hard to rank is the price. Because these are like $5. And for $5, I gotta be honest, this is a really good knife for $5. You want to take this like fishing or something, you can dress out. You can get a fish with this very, very easily. If you drop it off the side of your boat or something, you're not going to be out. If you leave it out in the woods, you're not going to be crying about it. I'm actually tempted to put these in B tier just because of the price. Like, do these have better build quality than the Schrade? No, but it's not that far off. I mean, this does have more of a sheath, and this does have okay, it is pretty far off. This does have substantially better build quality. But these also go for what, like $25? These are $5. That price is really compelling. This is not something that I would really carry these days. But if I was like, let's say somehow I forgot to bring a knife with me on a road trip or something, and I found these at Walmart, I'd buy one of these and carry it for that trip for sure. I've given these away to people. I would continue to give these away to people. These make great gift knives. You know what? I've talked myself into it. Those are going to be B tier. Those are going to be our highest knives so far. Maybe controversial, but you know what? That's where we're going to go. That's what we're going to do. Okay. Next up. Ooh, this is a weird one. This is a knife that belonged to my great-grandfather. And this is actually not a trashy knife at all. He gave this to me. And I, as a teenager, was trying to fix it and stuff. Do I have the sheath in here? I don't think so. Anyways. This is a Q steel. I don't know much about this brand. I think this might be an American-made knife. I don't know though. Super, super sharp. Very classic small hunting knife profile. You got a nice big pommel on there. Very 50s coated, right? It actually even has a convex edge, which is kind of crazy. The handles are kind of falling apart. I did make a sheath for this when I was a kid. I always wanted to rehandle it. I just never got around to it. Very cool knife. I gotta be honest, almost too small. Almost too small. This might be one that I take home with me too, though. This knife is stupid, stupid sharp. I do like the design. I do like the nostalgia of it. And, this knife has been in service for many, many years. So I know it's it's built competently, to say the least. I need to do some more research on this knife. You know what? We're going to put this in A tier. Yeah, that knife's going to go in A tier. I feel good about that. I need to do some more research on that knife and see what I can find out about it. Okay, next up, let's do the Thing. Oh, you know what this reminds me of is like a crappier version of the Work Tough Night Hunter I have right now. This is a Z Hunter, or, you know, as Nick Chabot would say, a Z Hunter. It's a Z Hunter. It's a big one. A real big Z Hunter. Too big for my small hands. I wish I had a Spyderco Delica for size comparison, but you probably don't need one. Just a big Z Hunter. Horrible, horrible paracord wrap. The ZB020 stainless steel custom design, hand forged in China. F tier. That's a very, very easy, almost instantaneous F tier. No one should ever own something like this. I am sorry. Just look, I was there. I was a cringe 15-year-old boy at one point. But if you are like me and you get to be in your 20s, your mid-20s, and you're still into things like this, you should probably go home and rethink your life. F tier. F tier. Okay. Oh, look at this. So I mentioned this before on the channel, but when I was younger, I did have like a knife making phase where I was trying to make knives. And I made some file knives. Actually, do I have? Oh, shoot. I don't know if my file knife is in here. If it's not, you know what? We won't rank that knife because it's one that I made. It'd be an F tier. But not many of my knives that I made, actually, I think there's only 2 that survived. But anyways, this is a bit of antler that I was using for handles. That just happens to be laying in here. Okay. Oh, what other fixed blades do we have in here? Do we have any more? We should. Oh, yes, there's one. Oh, this one. This is actually one I should review this one of these days. This is from Schrade, and this is their Bolo machete, I believe. Kind of a neat design. This knife did see use. No tip. Absolutely no tip. I do like the ergos. I do like how the blade is swept. It does make it a very, very effective chopper. Pretty comfortable in hand. You know, it's a little bit big, but these are not that expensive either from what I remember. Is this the best thing out there? No, absolutely not. But it's also not the worst thing that you could possibly own. Ooh, I do actually kind of want to review this now. Maybe I shall. Let me know what you guys think. Actually, you guys won't be seeing this video until weeks after it's been recorded, and I should probably make up my mind on whether I'm not going to review this before I leave, because it'll probably be 5 or 6 months before I get back up here to visit folks. So if I don't take it now, although I do have like 8 months worth of content I'm waiting on, I can leave this here, and you guys can let me know in the comments if you think I should review it. Where should I put it, though? Is it D tier? You know what? It is. I think we are going to put this in D tier just because it doesn't have a tip, and that wasn't because I broke it off. That was just not ground in from the factory. The design, I kind of like. I do like the build quality. But yeah, it's going to go in the same tier as this knife here. There we go. Okay. Here's another Ozark Trail. Ooh, and then we got some classic survival knives. There we go. I do like the colors on this. The ergos are okay. Sheath is pretty terrible. Again, it's like a $5 knife, so you're not going to be out that much if you buy one of these. But I don't think this is as good as those other ones. So again, though, $5. We're gonna put this in C tier. C tier. Okay. This is the $1 knife from Walmart. I made a video with this years and years ago. Maybe I should make another one. It's like the most. It's a budget version of the Mora, which is already a budget knife. So go figure, right? $1. Is this a good knife? No. But for $1. You know what? We're going to put it in D tier. We're going to put it in D tier because, no, that's not a good knife. But for $1, as long as you like keep your expectations reasonable and you're using this for like only knife tasks, I would not use this as like a bushcraft knife, but we're going to put that in D tier. We're going to put that in D tier. I would not really recommend you get one, but if your budget really is that tight, I suppose you would be okay-ish with that. All right. Next up. Another Tractor Supply thing. This one does have a belt loop. It also comes with throwing stars. This one does actually have a sharp saw. We've got double rows of offset teeth. Same horrible handles the other one. This one adds actually wrapped with like really cheap paracord imitation instead of like ribbon. Really weird ergonomics. Really, really squishy. Feels horrible in hand. This kicks up. I'm not sure if you can like really tell, but like the handle, like you got a hump here and then it goes down. It like is concave here and then it sweeps up to this thing. Super uncomfortable. Man, I would hate to chop with that. The sheath does have a belt loop this time. Every time you pull the knife out, the saws on the back are like shredding up this little thing here. Not good. Not good at all. We're going to put that one in F tier as well. F tier. Yeah, that's pretty atrocious. That is pretty atrocious. Okay. Ooh, what's in there? Oh, okay, that's for a different video. That's for a different video. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a spoiler warning. I am planning on making a video ranking every single liner lock I own. Pray for me, guys. Pray for me. It's going to be a long video. Okay. Next up, we've got a 2-for-1. Should I rank these together or separate? I think we're going to have to do them separate. This was actually like my very first like adventure knife combo. I used to take this. My cousin and I used to go and like basically just purposefully get lost in the woods, just strand ourselves in the mountains and spend the night, try and survive and stuff. Because what else are you going to do when you're a teenage boy living out in the middle of the Rocky Mountains in the summertime? You get bored. But actually in the wintertime too. Like one time we made a snow cave that we slept in. That was pretty awesome. But anyways, this was a knife that I would take and use for stuff like that. Actually a nice wrap on the handle. This thing is not comfortable. This is more of a throwing knife type of thing. But, you know, I like the clip point Bowie blade. You know, it's a usable knife. It's a usable hunk of steel. Not too bad. Now, what about a little companion knife? This knife is actually kind of trash. No tip on there. This knife I really only used as a throwing knife. I would just throw this just kind of for fun. Yes, the tip did not break off because of me. Again, it's just a round over tip. They just forgot to sharpen it at the factory. Pretty trash knife. So I'm going to put the large knife in D tier. Like, you don't need, I would never recommend someone to buy one of those, but if you just have one, it could be worse. This knife I'm going to put in E tier. Piece of crap. Okay, next up. Oh, this is going to make me sad. My Camillus Carnivore knockoff. I wish I had my Camillus Carnivore still, but it got stolen. Not that it was a great knife, but it was a very nostalgic knife for me. I need to get a new one. Massive, massive rubberized handles, partially serrated blade, that pretty useless tip up there. The Camillus Carnivore is not an amazing knife. we'll just put it that way. It's not a great knife. This takes that design and somehow makes it worse. Now I used to have two of these. I'm not sure if I still do. There might be another one of these hiding in here somewhere. But I used to actually have one of these in my truck. Now, interestingly enough, when I was a kid, I did actually kill a rattlesnake with one of these. I was on a different level back then. Yeah, very basic nylon sheath. Oh yeah, this is not the one from my truck. The one that was in my the one that was in my truck had a sheath that was like falling apart. That's why it was in my truck. This knife here, I'm going to give. I'm really struggling between D and E tier. This is going in E tier. That's going in E tier. Okay. Hey! I used to love to play baseball. I played in elementary school, middle school, and high school. Although my high school baseball team was kind of a joke. Oh, wow, look at that. There's a knife that I haven't thought about in a while. That'll be appearing in a different video. Set that over there. Okay. Not you. We don't want you. Don't want you. Okay, here we go. All right, now we're going to get some interesting stuff. So this is a knife that used to belong to my dad. This was given to me when I was a teenager. Classic 80s Rambo survival knife. Now, my dad did that when he was a kid. Yeah. Sheath is kind of falling apart. Now, this is going to be one of those knives where personally, like, there's so much nostalgia wrapped up in this knife. I kind of love it. But even when I was a kid, I was like, man, this knife is just not where it's at. Stupid hard to get this knife sharp. Look at how much wasted edge you have there. This sawback does not work. And as you can see, there's like little chunks of wood in there. I did try to make this sawback work many times. I actually did put that little bobble compass in there. Oh, it's like my grandparents might be coming to visit. Do I have a survival kit in the handle? Oh, shoot, I do. Oh, gosh, let's see what Gideon put in here. Tweezers and a single match fell out. I think there's more in there. Let's use... Oh, yeah. There's also a single Band-Aid. And some more broken matches. So that's not incredible. I'm sure there used to be more stuff in there. The tweezers, it's kind of interesting. I kind of like that. I'm sure that I used to have more stuff in here, and it's just gone missing over the years as I used it or as I moved it around to more useful storage containers. Oh my gosh. Thread on there. Oh, I do remember that. You have to get these threads like absolutely perfect. There we go. Should I put it in? You know what? We're going to put it in E tier. We're going to be nice. We're going to put it in E tier. Not quite F tier. Put it in E tier. Just because, I don't know, that's such a nostalgic knife. It has to go in E tier. I don't have the heart to put it in F. Alrighty, so moving right along. Next we have a Western cutlery knockoff of the Sharp Finger. I think Western is actually owned by Camillus. I'm going to get like some massive hate for this. There are some things I prefer about this knife over the sharp finger. It has very similar ergos, but I do like the blade better. I like the sharpening choil. I like that we don't have the recurve in the edge. The build quality is not as good on this as a sharp finger, but I do think I like the design a little bit better. And I know people are gonna hate me for saying that, but I'm gonna have to put this in C tier right alongside the sharp finger. I have to. I feel bad because this is kind of a copycat, a knockoff. But we have to. I gotta say, I think it does. I think it does certain things better than the actual sharp finger. It's not as legendary. It doesn't have as much history behind it, but oof. Okay, we're gonna move on from that. We're just gonna move on from that. Okay. What else do we have in here? Oh, hello, you. Yes, we'll take you next. This is a Harbor Freight survival knife that I bought for a video that I want to do for the channel and never got around to. And so it just kind of ended up in the box. There are some improvements to this knife over the, Rambo knife that we saw earlier. This knife does have a gasket on there. Do I have anything in the handle? Is there a survival kit in here right now? Oh my gosh, I hate that lanyard. Wow, this has a lot of screws. A lot of threads. There is. Is this something I put in there, or did this come with the knife? I can't remember anymore. I think this came with the knife. We have matches and some strikers. Looks like we got a hook, some line, different colored cordage. Yeah, maybe I'll make a video on this knife. Oh, and we do have a compass inside the handle or inside the butt cap. Maybe. Again, I got this knife because I wanted to do a video where I went out into the mountains and tried to do not a survival situation, but do some survival tasks, spend the night out there, use this for building a shelter, maybe go do some fishing with the line and stuff. I don't know. Let me know if you guys want to see that video because I want to start making more videos like that. It's just very, very hard for me, at least, to do videos like that as a one-man crew who films with a tripod and his phone. But I will, if there's enough interest, I will make myself do that video because I think it'd be really cool. I do think it'd be really, really fun. You got your holes in here for lashing it to a branch for a spear, of course. Big knife. I am kind of automatically distrustful of this genre of survival knife to begin with. So I'm going to put this in D tier. It's not the most atrocious thing out there, I guess, but that's just not a genre that I have any love for. So D tier is where that has to go. Okay, I think we're almost done with this batch of fixed blades. I think. Oh, this is a classic. I called this my Arkansas toothpick when I was a kid. This was one of my favorite knives. Look how thick those handles are. Almost unusably thick. Fit and finish on here, pretty atrocious. I mean, oh my gosh, nothing meets up the way it's supposed to. Very thick. Not a functional saw. There's some shifting in the scales. It looks cool though. And as you can see, I did used to take this out and beat on it years and years ago. Oh, there is one thing about this knife that is pretty terrible. Because the handle is so fat, the button doesn't actually button. We're going to have to give this E tier. It hurts me to say. We're not going to give it F tier, but we are going to give it E tier. Ugh, that does hurt. A little bit. just because that knife has good memories for me. Okay. All right, we are in the home stretch. Ooh, another 2-pack. You guys might actually remember I did make videos with these knives on the channel. Me and Austin went and took these knives and like beat them up and stuff. This is from Outdoor Edge, and this is the Field Caper and the Field Skin. And these are perfectly fine. I do really like the jimping on the blade here. Very comfortable ergos, overmolded scales, very grippy, which is important if you're using this to break down game. We've got like an antler motif on there. Nice and thin, easy to sharpen. I do like the caper. You know, you can get up in there and do some really fine detail work. These are completely fine. You do have the option to wear this on your belt, both of them at the same time, which is kind of funny. These are fine. These are completely fine, harmless, pretty average knives. We're gonna put these in C tier. See if I can get the buttons to button. There we go. They do button. I was about to say if the buttons don't button, we've got to downgrade it to D tier. But nope, the button's button, so C tier it is. Completely fine, usable, average, budget, fixed blade. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, there's my old calipers. Remember when I used to use my calipers on the channel a lot? Measuring behind the edge thickness and stuff. Ooh, this. Okay, then we got that. Okay, I think this is going to be it. I think these are the last two. I do have a cowbell in here from the Tour of the Gila. That's a big bike race that happens over in the Gila. And when I was a kid, we lived over in that area when I was in middle school. And when the bike race came by, our school like went and we stood out on the side of the road and like rang bells at people. Yeah. One of the times when that bike race was happening, I got to meet Lance Armstrong. I think that was right around the time we were finding out about his drug usage and his like weird blood swapping stuff or whatever. Anyways, moving on. So we have another mossy oak. This is a Bowie with a nice looking leather sheath, but this is not a very high quality leather sheath. Open her up. There she is. Horrible fitment here. Oh my gosh, this is atrocious. What's interesting is that, okay, can you guys see in here? The knife is full tang. These bolsters are put on as separate pieces though around the crossguard, and it is just fitted horribly onto the tang of the knife that's underneath. Like the knife tang also does this crossguard, and then they put these on top. And the fitment is just absolutely atrocious. All over the place. Not very comfortable. I'm a sucker for Bowies. I think it kind of looks cool. Is it cool? Not really. Yeah, this has got to be another one of those knives that's D tier. Like, yeah, I would not recommend this to anyone, but it can be worse. It could be worse. And that was like really, really loose. Okay. Double checking just to make sure this is all the fixed blades. Oh, it's not. It's not. We've got another one right here. What even is this? Oh, I remember what this. How could I forget about this? Yes. Okay. Yeah, I feel horrible. Oh, and then there are a couple of other fixed blades. Anyways, whatever. We'll get to that later. Okay. We'll save this one for. Actually, we'll do the other one last. Imtech. Now, this knife I see being sold, the same design I see being sold by SOG these days under their Operator series. I thought about getting one. The sheath is a little bit different, I think. So here we go. I used to actually have a little thing on here where I like a little tie down on the end. Not sure what happened to that. The sheath, this was my very first like modular, or my very first sheath where you could like put it on your belt without having to like take your belt off. So you pull this out, opens up like that, and then just this plastic tab just like slides up in there, and that locks it. And it's the same thing for the retention here. You push this aside, and you're ready to go. And then the knife there is kind of friction fit. There's not like a Kydex retention though. You pull it out, and there she is. This was one of my favorite knives when I was a kid. Nice thick handle. I will say it does still kind of feel good in hand. Yeah. Again, this one has no tip. The tip is just rounded, like they just forgot to grind the tip on. But I still use this knife and love this knife when I was a kid. I do actually remember, because my cousin Austin also bought one of these, and his did have a tip. And I remember one time we were I don't know, I think he was teasing me. He's like, oh, yours doesn't have a tip, whatever. I was like, well, I'm sure I can use it for other things. And so we took this cow skull, pop, and I like rammed this through it, and it did not go through immediately. I had to like kind of pop, but I did eventually stab this through a cow skull, which I thought was pretty cool at the time. Yeah. It's attached there in the back with a little hex bit. Yeah, kind of an interesting knife. I do kind of like the looks of it. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of badass. But but again, no tip. Fit and finish horrible. This is 440 steel, so probably 440A. I should actually get the SOG version and see if that's any good. We're going to give this a D tier. I can't give it C tier because I don't think this is an act, like, I would not recommend this. The fit and finish is pretty crap. If I were to do a full review on this knife, I would not give it a good score. I would not give a recommendation because of that. But again, this is one of those knives that has very special memories for me. So we're going to give it a D tier. I'm not going to give it E, but because I think it is technically kind of usable, especially if you're able to grind a tip on yourself. Is it worth the $29.99 I paid for it from Big Five back in the day? No, probably not. Okay, and then the last one we're going to take a look at, you guys know I have a soft spot for this brand, Elk Ridge. And this one is very special. Oh, I actually kind of miss this knife. This was given to me by my cousin Austin, because he had one. Well, actually, he bought one for himself and gave me one. It's a little kukri. Look at that massive skull crusher there. Pretty thin. I do love kukris, and I think this is the knife that made me love kukris so much. Can you see like the little gap there in the tang? Let's see if I hold it over here. I don't know if I get it up close. Yeah, there you go. Very thin tang going into this blade. We have a screw here, and then we've got this little cap on the end. I do not think this would be a very durable knife, but I think it's a very good looking knife. I think it's a very cool knife, and I have kept it nice all these years. 440 stainless. Again, probably not anything special, but I do love kukris, and I think this is the knife that kind of got me into kukris. Where do I rank it? Because this is a chopper, and I'm not sure what the tang looks like, I can't really trust the tang. That's kind of We're going to give it D tier as well. I can't go higher than that, but I think D tier sounds like a good spot for that. And there we go. Part 1 of the fixed blades done. Our highest was an A tier so far. We're going to stop recording and cut over to Gideon from months in the future. Hey, guess what? I found another fixed blade in that box. This is a Kitchen Delight stainless steel made in Japan little knife. I found this in an abandoned house that my cousin and I broke into. Statute of limitations. You know what? I was going to say maybe I shouldn't have said that, but yeah, there we go. Anyways. I don't know. E tier. We'll put in E tier. Goodbye. Alrighty, guys. Update. I found a couple of things I want to show you real quick. So first of all is with this little knife here. This is that Q-Steel knife. My dad came up with this sheath that he says he believes goes to this knife. And I think that, gosh, come on, get in there, buddy. Get in there. It does fit, although not perfectly. I think this is a knife. This is a sheath that my great grandfather or my great uncle might have made for this knife after the fact. Also, I do have a couple of knives that my uncle and my great grandfather made, or my dad has them, and he said he's going to try and pull them out one of these days. We're probably not going to show them in this video, but he might pull them out one of these days. I think this is probably a sheath that they made. The knife does fit in there, but not perfectly. This could also be a sheath that they made for a knife that they created. Okay, the other thing I found is, yes, here's one of my blade blanks from when I was making knives. Yeah. We're not going to put this on the ranking. Not great. You can actually see here that it's very, very warped. Yeah, we're pretty warped. Not an amazing blade. And I think this might actually be the only surviving blade blank that Gideon ever made. I thought there was another one, but I, for the life of me, cannot find it. So here's what we've got. Interestingly enough, this is actually a convex, by the way. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, not amazing, but there it is. Alrighty, guys, you ready to talk about fixed blades? Let's finish this video up. This is going to be a video I'm not looking forward to editing. In fact, I think I'm going to try to make these videos with as little or with as few edits as possible. So if there's some just random bullshit that happens, I'm probably going to leave it in and you guys can just deal with it, right? So I think I've rounded up all the rest of my fixed blades. We're going to try to rapid fire this. I should have said this at the beginning, but I'll say it now. You know, obviously if there's a knife that you guys are like, wait, didn't you review this knife? Where is it on the video? Either I don't own it because I never did, it was a loaner, or I owned it for a little bit and I passed it on since. Now, there's going to be a lot of knives that you see in today's video that are not going to be sticking around in my collection for very long because I am planning on giving some of these away. I know the 5,000 subscriber giveaway is coming soon. I promise. Giveaways are just so stressful. I like to do them live, and I just need to set aside time for lives. I need to make sure I've got all my ducks in a row before I do giveaways. When life gets a little less hectic, which honestly maybe might not ever happen, but we'll be doing giveaways soon. We're wasting time. Anyways, there's a lot of knives that we're going to see in this video that I'm already not really planning on keeping in my personal collection, but I figured we might as well rank them because I've got them right now, right? So, you know, let's just go through them, right? Let's just go through them. One of those knives I actually did forget to bring with me, but that's the Half-Face Blades Disaster Junior. Is it the Junior? No, just a Half-Face Blades Disaster, I think is what I have. Really cool knife, very well made. But it doesn't cut very well. I'm not a huge fan of the design. It's a gorgeous knife. The ergos are amazing. I'm actually going to put it in C tier, which is probably going to shock a lot of people. But just for me personally, it's a C tier knife. Anyways, yeah, we're going to have a lot of knives to rank. Let's go through them. This is going to be a very, very long video, but you know what? That's why I decided to include all the knives, even the ones that I'm planning to use for giveaways, because if you made this far in the video, you're kind of already committed to this, so we might as well just torture you more, right? Okay, I have a backpack, a pile, and a suitcase full of knives. A little bit overwhelming, but let's just hop right in, shall we? So first knife I've got right here is from CRKT, and this is the Razel fixed blade, and this is actually a very, very cool knife. Obviously a Graham design. I'm a huge fan of this knife. It's weird, it's wacky. I do like the colors, like with the pop of red, with the burlap micarta, D2 steel. Again, weird and wacky, but it feels good in the hand, and it's actually super usable. This is a great EDC fixed blade, and it's one that I'm really happy to have in my collection. There's nothing I love more than a weird knife that is still functional, which this absolutely is. I do not like the sheath, though. The sheath does suck, and it's going to take a lot of points away from this knife. How many points? I'm bouncing between B and A tier. You know what? Let's go B tier, but this is like a B plus. This is like a B plus or an A minus, but we're gonna put it in B tier for now. Okay, this is a knife that I showed a long time ago. I have a video planned for this knife, but I haven't done it yet. This is the Ugly Stick knife. I'm not sure if it has a name. I've forgotten it, if it did. Like, big old handle. I mean, look how much room you have on that handle. I think the steel on this is 8CR, which is actually kind of cool. Is it as good as their fishing poles? I don't know. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of their fishing poles either, but we'll put it in C tier. Like, it's a passable knife, and it's pretty affordable. We'll put it in C tier. I think that evens out. Let's grab this knife. Also a knife I've had for a long time. I'm planning on doing some videos with this, but I haven't yet. This is that Ozark Trail. I don't think it has a name, but it's their big, like, hunting knife. A lot of cool stuff about this knife. It's very affordable. They do have a new version out that has G10 scales instead of this stabilized wood. But I do like how the blade kind of, or not really the blade, but the handle kind of counts downward. Almost gives it a little bit of a chopping feel. Straight clip point, flat grind, 3CR steel probably. You know, honestly, it's a little more like a fighting knife in my mind. Fit and finish is okay for a cheap knife. The sheath is okay for a cheap knife. I think I'm also gonna put this one in C tier. It's a fine knife. It's a cool knife. Let's grab this. This is another knife I've had for a while. I've actually given a lot of these as gifts, but this is from Camillus, and this is, I think it's just the camp knife, the Camillus camp knife. You can find these at Walmart. They've got one now with a green handle. Rubberized handle, very, very comfortable, very thin hollow ground blade that I think is 3CR or 420, not much difference. Very basic, you know, nylon sheath. It's nothing special, but it is functional. And like I said, I've given a lot of these as gifts, and everyone I've given these to has used them fairly hard, fairly often, and they seem to hold up all right. So nothing special. I wouldn't really put it up against, you know, any heavy hitters, but it's a cool knife. It's passable. C tier. Once again. Okay. Let's grab this knife here. This is the Cold Steel Mini Tack Bowie. I went through a phase where I was really into neck knives. I'm not really into neck knives so much anymore. Or at least I don't regularly carry neck knives anymore. But this is a really, really cool one. 8CR steel. These are super affordable. You can find these at, you know, Tractor Supply. You guys know I love me a good Bowie. Yeah, this is a really, really cool one. The Curex sheath works really well. I'm going to put this in B tier. Actually, Yeah, I'm gonna put this in B tier as well. I was thinking maybe I should put it in A tier. We are gonna put it in B tier. We are gonna put it in B tier, I think. That's a good spot for that. That's a very good spot for that. Okay, next up. Let's grab this little thing that I found during a trip to Colorado where I got stuck in a blizzard, actually, up in the mountains. Whole story. That was actually really, really stressful. Ooh, that was actually a really interesting trip. One of these days I'll have to tell a story about all the stuff that happened on that trip. This was back in February, but got stranded in a blizzard up in the mountains, and then had a little run-in with some bad people. We'll leave it at that. That was a wild, wild trip. But anyways, I found this abandoned out there in Colorado, and it's really weird. It's like a little hatchet thing. You got your hex wrenches, you got a little strap cutter, and then it's like a hatchet ulu type of thing. These ergos are absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. Not as bad as those like Tractor Supply knives that we looked at, but they're not great either. Not great either. It's pretty tragic. I'm trying to think, is this a F tier or a D tier? Oh, and for fixed blades, I guess we also have an E tier. You know what? This is going in E tier. I forgot that we're doing an E tier with this video. So yeah, that's an E tier knife. Seems like a good spot for me. I think that's a good spot. Okay, next up, let's take a look at another Cold Steel. I used to have another one of these, but I gave it away. This is like a little cheap Cold Steel machete that they had at Walmart during the holidays several years ago. And I picked it up. You know, you can find this exact same pattern with, you know, mossy oak or other branding on it. So, I mean, it doesn't even really count as a Cold Steel product, I don't think. Massive handle. It's fine. My first instinct is once again to put it in C tier. But you know what? I don't think so. I don't think so, because this is more aimed to be like a machete. Even though it's more like the size that I'd want a big chopping knife to be. But it's not as thick. It's kind of thin like a machete, but I'd want it to have a little more length. It's about the right size for a heavy-duty chopper, but the blade stock is too thin. We'll put that at D tier. You know, very unremarkable, like kind of type of knife. Okay. Here's a cool one, discontinued one. This is the WE Knives Stonefish. This is a really, really cool knife designed by Michael Imler. 20 CV steel, G10 scales. A very, man, Civivi has come a long way on their sheaths. This is kind of a bad Kydex sheath in a lot of ways. The knife itself, though, very smart design. It's kind of intended as like a utility fighting knife. I like a lot about this knife. I really do. This thing's great. I enjoyed carrying it. It's not a knife that I come back to all that often, but it's a knife that I really, really appreciate. It's a knife that I respect a whole lot. This is going in A tier. That's going in A tier. Okay. Yeah, let's grab this thing. This is that Sadok EDC knockoff of a Matt Gentry design that's just been like floating around my collection recently. The knife itself is built pretty well. The DC53 steel held up all right, decently, I guess. The ergos are good. A lot of the great things about this knife come from the design, which did not come from this company, right? So I do have to take that into account. This is one that could definitely use an ulti-clip instead of this little thing. Now, the fact that it is a stolen design takes away a lot of points. It is a competently made knife, though. Again, it's competently made, but is copying someone's homework. So those two things kind of cancel each other out. I'm going to put it in C tier. And you guys can get mad at me. I don't care. Okay, let's grab, let's grab this knife real quick. Another neck knife. Another knife from CRKT. This is the Spew. I love this knife. I absolutely love this knife. 5CR steel, nothing amazing, but this is one of the most wicked Wharncliffe blades in my collection. This is a true Wharncliffe. Fits in my hand so well for such a small knife. It's so ergonomic. I do love this multicolor brown and black G10. Very cool knife. The sheath does have good retention. I do not like that it comes with like a shoestring as the necklace. I'd rather have a breakaway chain, but it's a very cool knife. This is so usable. If you do a lot of like detail work cutting, you're going to absolutely love this knife. Now, my one problem with it, I guess, is because it has such a low-end blade steel. I have sharpened it quite a bit. I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but you can see like how far we're backing up. And, you're probably going to sharpen this knife away throughout its lifetime. I haven't carried this knife enough to do that yet, but if I was carrying this knife pretty regularly, I'm pretty sure I would have already sharpened away most of the blade. That's really not that much of a negative, I guess, but this thing is really, really cool. I'm going to put it in B tier. That's another one that's almost A tier. That's almost very, very close. Okay. Yeah, we got so many knives to go through, guys. I got to pick up the pace. This one was just recently, I'm not sure when you guys are going to see this video, but I recently filmed the review for this knife. The Slick Knives Clip Point 4.5. I love this knife. I absolutely love this knife. This is the perfect example of a big knife. I mean, it's not a huge knife, but it's on the bigger side. A big knife built for slicing. This thing is so freaking slicey. This would be a great hunting knife. This is a great around the camp knife. Made in Spain, 14C28N. Beautiful ergos. They've got a drop point version of this knife that I absolutely want to get my hands on. That thing looks so amazing. I love how the whole thing's kind of bowed like that, and then it has an aggressive clip. It gives you, the fine acuteness that a clip point gives you, and it gives you the nice belly out toward the end that clip point knives are known for, but it keeps the tip low enough to make it easily accessible. Just a great design. The sheath is high quality. I'm not the biggest fan of leather sheaths, as you guys probably know, but this sheath is a very high quality sheath. Comes with a little ferro rod. This thing's really, really neat. They go for about $100, which I think is absolutely worth it. This is an A tier. Absolutely an A tier. All right, let's grab some of these other knives. This is the Camillus Carnivore X2. Got a fly on my face, just smacked myself in the face. Hope you guys enjoyed that. This is the Camillus Carnivore X2. I used to have one of the larger, I can't remember which version of the Carnivore I used to have. It was stolen when my truck was broke into, which is horrible because that knife and I had such a history. I got this one recently. I am going to replace my other Carnivore, not because it's a great knife, but because it's a knife that I always wanted when I was a kid, and I think it's kind of cool. So where does this thing rank? To be completely honest with you guys, this is a D tier knife. The build quality is fine for a knife of this category, I suppose. You guys know I love Camillus and things like that, but the ergos are fine. Again, the build quality is acceptable, but this design just is not all that utilitarian, right? Which you might think is crazy because it looks very similar to that CRKT, but they are very, very different. This just isn't a knife that I find to be particularly useful for a lot of things. It absolutely doesn't stand out when compared to other knives. So we're going to put that one in D tier. Unfortunately. Next up, let's grab this one. This is a knife that I've been trying to review recently. This is the Gerber Gator Junior Machete. This handle's really, really cool. I think I would prefer the full-size Gator. I just find this one to be a little bit of an awkward size. The handle to blade ratio is a little bit off. It's fine as a budget machete, I suppose. These are, it could be a lot worse. It's okay. I do need to do more testing with it, but I think I'm kind of trying to starting to figure out how I feel about this knife. It's fine-ish. We're going to put it in C tier, actually. For the money, you could do a lot worse. There are some truly atrocious machete designs out there in the inexpensive knife world. That one is fairly passable. Okay, let's grab this knife. This is a kukri that I bought when I was younger. It's got G10 scales, 3 CR on the blade. I gotta be honest, I really like the scales. I really like how this knife feels. I'm a huge fan of kukris. I really love kukris. This is a great design. The handle feels very high quality. However, I'm not sure I trust the steel all that much. This knife has been sharpened several times because every single time I use it, I do like atrocious damage to the edge. And I haven't used it in a while, but yeah, that 3CR steel is not the choice for this knife. It's not even all that thick, which, you don't really want your kukri to be that thick because it's supposed to be kind of a chopper and a machete mix, so you want kind of a middle ground. But it does have a lot of redeeming qualities. I would love to have this exact knife in like CPM 3V, and I mean that. I absolutely mean that. This thing is actually really, really cool. The sheath is nothing special. The US, the Marines branding, screams quality, right? It's a Bud K knife, but I actually am very impressed by the handle scales. The blade seal just really, really holds it back a lot. I think that one's got to be in C tier as well. I think so. Alrighty, next up, from Estwing. I've had this for about a year. I've taken it out into the field a couple of times. I hate it. I'm not a huge fan of this. It's made in the USA. It's got the same handle that all their hammers and stuff have. I'm a fan of Estwing. I love their hammers. I love their geology tools. But this machete this isn't it. This really isn't it. I do need to do more testing with it, I think, because, like I said, I think I've actually only taken it out to the field once and used it once, really, and I was not impressed. I do need to do some more use with it, get to know a little bit better, but it's really not that good. And I'm trying to decide between E and D tier on this one. You know what? I think we're going to put it in D tier. Yeah. We're going to put it in D tier. Seems about right. All right, another kukri. This is the Cold Steel Magnum Kukri Machete. I love this thing. I take this with me all over the place, all the time, camping and stuff. This is a knife that I use a lot. I love this thing. They're cheap as dirt. It's durable. You got great chopping power. Nice and thin, though, so you can do a lot of brush clearing as well with this if you wanted to, which I have. I like this thing a lot. This is a great knife. Great machete, especially for the price. The sheath is fine. It's nothing super special. I do like that they have this little bit reinforced down here. It's not... I'm trying to think where to put this. I'm debating between A tier and S tier. And honestly, for the price to performance ratio, I think this has got to go in S tier, guys. I think it's got to go in S tier. I might change that later. I might You know what? Yeah, we're going to put this in A tier. It's at the very top of A tier, though. The very, very top. It's a great knife. This is a machete from like Ace Hardware that I bought when I was a teenager. Again, my cousin and I used to do a lot of landscaping for people, and I bought this to clear brush and stuff on people's properties, and I use it a lot, and I did get quite a bit of use out of it. And now it just kind of lives in my truck. I don't use it that much anymore, but it's just kind of in there because I don't even know why, to be honest. Horrible, horrible sheath. Terrible steel quality. Technically usable, though. I don't know. This sheath, though, is a travesty. No, this is an E tier. That's E tier. I'm not going to put it in F tier because it is kind of usable. I'm not going to put it in D tier, though, because I don't think the build quality is not that great. We're going to put it in E tier. All right, here's a knife that's really special to me because this is another knife that I used to... This was like my late teen years. This was my go-to adventuring knife. It's also one that just kind of lives in my truck. Now, this is from Schrade. I have no idea. Oh my gosh, this thing is filthy. I have no idea what this thing is called. Oh my gosh, and that edge is like got chunks taken out of it. I mean, I use this thing hard, and honestly, it has held up. Like, I should clean this guy up. We got some rust spots and stuff. Yeah, I put this under the seat of my truck like years ago, and it has sat there until just now. I actually kind of like the design. I like how it's got like a little spidey hole. The scales are noticeably cheap plastic, right? And the ergos are not the best, but also not atrocious. Like, this is a usable knife. I do like the weight. I do like the size. I like this little swedge on the top. There's a lot about this that I like. The sheath is pretty plain. I'm struggling right now between D tier and C tier because it's got some redeeming features for sure, but it's really not that special. Like, we're going to put it in C tier. That kind of surprises even me, but we're going to put it in C tier. All right, next up, these are two knives that I have been trying to review for so long, and I'm going to just make the reviews. But these are sibling knives, and they are not really my style at all. And I've got, man, her hair just gets everywhere. Get away. This is the Nedfoss Brave in D2 steel. So we have a clip point one. This is kind of like a, K-bar styled knife. Definitely a fighting knife. You've got this long, straight handle. You got this guard. This is not something that I carry very often. This is not something that I enjoy taking with me backpacking, taking with me camping, or just out in the backcountry in general. This is not my style of knife. The sheaths. The retention is good, and then they also have this secondary little thing here. Let me pull out the other one too, because these are going to go in the same tier. This one's got a Tonto blade. I think I actually like this one a little bit better just because, I don't know, I think it looks a little cooler and it's, I don't know, maybe a little more sense for this one to be a tactical knife, I guess. I don't know. They're cool. They're well made. See, I want to put them in C tier, but they are definitely more well made than something like this. And I think I'm gonna have to try and separate my own personal bias out, because for me, the fact that this is not my style, this is not something that I would want to carry and use on the regular, you know, that's bringing them down quite a bit in my mind. But if I'm looking at everything else I have here in C tier, I mean, the build quality on these is fine. The performance, you know what? No, honestly, the performance of these knives is kind of on par with some of these C tier knives. So yeah, we're gonna put those in C tier as well. Full reviews coming when they come, right? You guys know how this channel works. Okay, next up, we've got this is a little Bowie knife that used to belong to my dad. And surprisingly, it looks like this has been sharpened a lot, like a fair amount. And in fact, it was a chisel grind. Like there's only a grind on this side, but it looks like my dad sharpened it. He put a bevel on the other side as well when he had this when he was younger. So that's cool. This is a novelty knife, right? It says Colonial from Providence, USA. USA made knife. That's kind of cool. We got little plasticky scales in there. I do find it interesting that the sheath does technically have a belt loop. Like, it's not supposed to be taken seriously, right? This is not a knife that's supposed to be a serious tool. We're gonna put it in D tier, I think. I was honestly considering C tier. We'll leave it in D tier. Alrighty, how about another Camillus? I actually used to have two of these, but I gave one to my friend. And actually, there's two knives in one here. So, we've got the big ol' Bowie. I'll tell you right now, that's a D tier. Nothing real special there. And then we've got this little secondary knife here that's also a multi-tool. It's got all these other little bits and pieces. I love how you have a saw back here where you'd want to put your thumb as you're using the blade, and those are actually sharp. Like, that was a little tiny bit of pressure and it left a mark. If I really pushed down on that, it would break skin. That thing's horrible. We're going to put the little knife in F tier, and we're going to put the big knife. The big knife's actually quite a bit more usable. It's not good. Got the little fucker. It's not good, but it is usable-ish. It's use-ish. We're going to put the big knife in also, I'm looking inside the serrations here, and there's just paint globbed up all in there. You know what? Nah. Little knife, F tier. Big knife, E tier. Why try to make excuses for it, right? Okay. Next up. Oh, we'll save that one for a little bit. Let's grab this. This is an Imtech. Also a knife that I bought for a video that I have planned that I might get to one of these days. I think they call this the Raider Bowie. Kind of a cool looking knife, I guess. Hate the way these handles feel. Also, I love how the screw here, it's not actually a screw, that's just molded into this over molded handle. USA design, yeah, whatever. Very, very flimsy sheath. I like that they did put one of those little inserts in this one, like people are doing nowadays, but it's so small and flimsy that it might as well not even be there. Yeah, this thing's pretty atrocious. We're gonna put this one in E tier. Not quite F tier, but pretty darn close. All right, here's one that. Okay,
Okay, so here's one that I showed fairly recently. This is from like a holiday pack thing that I made a whole video about. This is from Mossy Oak. It's like a little rescue tool fixed blade. And it's kind of neat. Don't know what the blade steel is. It's plastic. It doesn't even really have a sheath. It has a blade cover. But the retention's good. And it does have a push-off point. That's kind of neat. This thing is very interesting as a multi-tool. And I am very intrigued by it. The fin finish is, obviously not the best. But I do think the design's really cool. And I think that with a little bit of work, this could be a interesting little tool. But not something that's cool enough for me to like start using it or carrying it regularly. So we're gonna put that one in C tier as well. I think that's a cool knife. I really do. Okay. Ooh, we got some hard hitters sitting right up here on top of my bag. Do I want to get to those, or do I want to do some more of the garbage ones? You know what? Let's do some cool knives, right? You guys want to see some cool knives real quick. Let's grab this one. This is the very good knife company Hornet in 80 CRV2. I love the Hornet, and in fact, I've got another one right here. That is not the Hornet, though. Where is my other Hornet? Oh, man. You know what? I thought, I wanted to do them both at the same time, but I can't find the other one right now. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, well, we'll get to it when we get to it. My other one's in Nitro V. This is the newer one. My Nitro V one is the one that I've used the most, and I love the Nitro V. 80 CRV2 is a steel that I'm also starting to appreciate. I've been using it a lot on the Lone Star, which we'll see in a little bit. I think I might prefer Nitro V. I don't know, though. It's a tough decision. I'm going to have to use it more. But this is an amazing knife design. It's simple in all the right ways. Amazing ergos. I love this like burgundy micarta on this particular version. That's pretty. Great sheath. Jacob over there at Very Good Knife Company. He does great work. Super solid retention. This is an S tier. That's an S tier knife. No questions asked. S tier. I think that's the first fixed blade we put in F tier. Or S tier. Not F tier. S tier. I think that's our first S tier. I might be wrong, but I think it's our first. Okay, here's a knife that I've been carrying a lot recently. And I've been going back and forth on this knife. But this is the Kizer Drop Bear Fix 3 in 14C 28N. This is a very, very cool knife, and I'm trying to figure out if I prefer this knife as an EDC fixed blade or as like a hiking companion fixed blade. There's a lot about this knife that I really do like, but I'm still trying to figure out my thoughts on it, and we'll save a bunch of that stuff for the review, right? So stay tuned for the full review. I do think it's a great looking knife, and it's a very well made knife. We're going to put it in A tier for now. I do like that knife. I'm a big fan of that knife. We're going to put it in A tier for now. Okay, let's grab this knife. This is one you guys haven't seen in a while. This is the Viper Handy. The Handy 2. This is a cool knife. This is a really cool knife. And this is a knife that about a year ago I was carrying a lot. I love this knife. It's got a nice Italian feeling, with the crown spine and everything, but it's also a very hard working knife. M390 on the blade, neat like textured scales, good Kydex sheath. That's an awesome knife. Fantastic EDC fixed blade. That's an A tier. All right, so next up we have the Effengrau EF128, I believe. Yes, the EF128. This is a knife that I did not like very much, but a lot of people love this knife, and a lot of people were shocked that I did not like it very much. For me, it's just too heavy and cumbersome. I don't think it gives you any extra performance than a lot of other knives in this category. But despite my own personal about this knife, I do recognize that it's very well made. I do like the handle. I have seen people like Peterbilt Knife Guy, do some pretty cool stuff with these. Not my flavor, but it is well made, and these are pretty affordable. We're going to put this in B tier. I feel pretty good about that. We'll put it in B tier. Next up, we have this little knife from Knives Ranch. It's a little Damascus Skinner knife. It's okay. It's fine. The leather sheath is actually kind of nice. I actually got into a little bit of trouble with the Knives Ranch people because when I bought this from them at a gun show, and at their booth, they told me that these were made in the USA. And then I went to their website and found that that is not the case. And anyways, got into a little bit of a conversation with them about that. But this is a fine knife. It's okay. We're going to put that in C tier. Next up. Ooh. From Elk Ridge. My first Bowie knife. My dad gave me this for Christmas when I was 14. I love this knife. This is one of my most treasured possessions. The sheath, very average nylon junk sheath. I think this is a great looking knife. I love this knife. And yeah, it's got a lot of good memories for me. But how does it stack up to some other knives? I mean, it is not the best thing out there, and it is a far cry from some of the knives that we're looking at today. But it's not bad. It's really not bad. I think it is competently made. And it is really, really pretty. You know, we'll give it style points. I'm going to put it in C tier. Now, if I was ranking this list based purely off of, like, emotional connection, that would be an S tier. In fact, that would be, like, off the charts. Like, that knife wouldn't even be in competition with anything else. That is one of my most prized possessions. But we're kind of, you know, we're trying to be at least somewhat objective, in this video. But yeah, I do still think that's a C tier knife. It's a great knife. It's got a hollow grind. You know, it's 440A steel. Nothing amazing, but you know, sharpen it up and it'll work for you. Okay. This is the Off Grid Gear Trail Guard. And actually, Off Grid Gear has a new knife out right now that I really want to try out because I want to give them another chance. I want them to redeem themselves because I was so disappointed with this knife. This knife is basically a cheaper version of one of my favorite knives ever, and we're going to look at it here in a little bit, the Off Grid Knives Backcountry. This knife added more jimping, which I thought was a great upgrade. It's 7CR steel, hollow grind, plastic scales. You know, it's a more affordable knife. But I think that hollow grind made this just such a downgrade. This knife does not perform anywhere near the level of the Big Brother. And it's such a shame. It is such a freaking shame. Watch the full review of this knife and you'll see how it leaves a lot to be desired. Now, is it a bad knife? No, especially compared to a lot of the knives on this list. But I did give this the award for the worst knife I reviewed in 2025, which hurt. But when we stack it up to some of these other knives that are truly garbage, this is a better tool than something like this by far. So I'm going to give this C tier, right? I'm going to give it C tier. Yeah, which still hurts my heart. Okay, let's grab this thing. This is the Asher Knives Fixie. Also a knife you guys haven't seen on the channel in a while. I really, really like this knife a lot. I like how the edge sits so far below the handles. S90V on this blade. Straight clip point. Lots of belly. Kind of a continuous swoop. Nice low usable tip. This knife is really, really cool. Now for me, the way it kind of bulges out a little bit back here makes it not fit in my hand all that nicely. Like, it's still very comfortable. This is still a comfortable knife, don't get me wrong. It's just, I would, if it was up to me, I'd just shave that off, or I'd make it a little bit wider coming out to here, you know. It's a great knife, though. Very, very cool company. I do like this knife a whole lot. I'm going to give it A tier as well. That is a very, very fun knife. Okay, you know what? Let's grab this one. This is the Half Face Blades Pirate. I love the scales. I love like the rock texture jimping. This is a very striking looking knife. This one's really, really fun. And Oh, this knife fits my hand like a glove. This thing is so comfortable in my hand. S45VN, straight clip point blade, felt lined leather sheath, or felt lined Kydex sheath. I'm not the biggest fan of the sheath, to be honest. The knife itself, I think, has a lot of really good features. This is more of an EDC friendly knife than some of the other knives I've handled from Half Face. Very cool knife. The build quality is absolutely incredible. I do like this one quite a bit, but there are some things that, you know, like the sheath, like the geometry. The geometry is not bad, but it, you know, I would want it to be better for a knife of this size for an EDC fixed blade. Those ergos are amazing. I'm going to put this in A tier. It's a great knife. It's a really great knife. But those few little things are holding it back from S. Okay, next up. Yeah, we really got some heavy hitters coming up. What do I have in the other backpack? Okay, yeah, let's look at some more crap, huh? It's been a while since we've seen some crap. You guys might remember these from a somewhat recent video. These knives from Realtree. These are F tier. The sheaths are horrible. If you remember right, like the buttons don't even snap. Like the little sheaths here are the little button straps here don't reach across. And the fit and finish on these is awful. They look fine from a little ways back, but watch the video I made on these. The fit and finish is so bad, and in the hand they're so hot in the hand. Yeah, these are F tier knives. Do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like that green eggs and Spam. Okay, let's grab this thing. Oof. This is a knife that one of my buddies gave me. And it's very similar to a knife that we looked at when I was up north. And my buddy gave it to me because he brought it to me to sharpen. And I spent hours trying to put an edge on this thing. Hours trying to put an edge on this knife, like a somewhat usable edge. And I just could not get this steel to take an edge. It's fairly sharp now, but this thing just sharpened like putty. One of the worst things I've ever tried to sharpen. And he was kind of disgusted with it. He's like, so it's not a good knife? I said, no, it's not a good knife. So I gave him a good knife, and he said, oh, well, you can just keep that one. Thanks. I feel so honored. So now I have it. I honestly forgot I had it until I saw it at the bottom of one of my knife drawers. So there's that. Velcro doesn't even Velcro. F tier. F tier. Easily. Okay, let's grab this. This is a little Camillus. Came in one of the holiday packs. Again, not a sheath, just like a blade cover. But I actually really love this design. It is so comfortable. And the handle and the blade work together so well. We've got a hollow grind here, 420 steel, nothing amazing. But I actually really like this knife. And especially because this is like a $5 knife, I think that gives it a lot of points. I wish it had a better sheath, but for like $5, you could do a lot worse. I'm actually gonna put this in B tier. I need to make more videos on this knife because it doesn't really have a name. But it is a knife that I have taken out and used, and it's gone camping with me. It's ridden in my backpack on different trips, and it's actually not bad at all. So yeah, we're gonna put that in B tier. It's a fun one. That's a real fun one. Okay, let's grab. Hey, look, there's my other Hornet. This is the one that I've had longer, and you can, definitely see this knife has been well loved, abused, and used. This thing's just awesome. I love the Hornet. This knife made me fall in love with Very Good Knife Co. This thing's incredible. Where do you guys think it's going? Yeah, straight to S tier, right with the other one. And you know what? While we're at it, let's stop beating around the bush. Here's my Lone Star. I've been carrying this knife more than any other fixed blade recently. This thing's absolutely incredible. It goes everywhere with me. I love the ergos. I love the size. I love that it's a big knife, but also kind of a small knife. It works for EDC. It works for backpacking. It just so good. 80 CRV2 on this one, which It is a little more rusty than I would, rust prone than I would like, but just an amazing knife. Beautiful, beautiful hollow grind, sheep's foot blade. This thing's fantastic. I love that knife so much. This is from the original run of 9, and then just recently, Jacob did another run of 9 of these, and they all sold out very, very quickly. So there's only 18 of these in the entire world, and I have one from the original batch, which is very, very special. S tier. S tier. What were you expecting? And right now, every single knife that I have in S tier is a very good knife company knife. So that should tell you something. Next up, bam. The Swisstech Halt Bar. This is a knife that I am in love with, but also frustrated with. It's a knife that surprised me greatly and also disappointed me in some ways. I gave it a pretty positive review, and it deserves the review that I gave it. But this is a knife that I think I see a lot of potential in. It's a good knife as it is, but I think it could be so much better. The sheath is very, very interesting. There's not very many other knives that have a sheath like this, especially with like the belt clip thing. Very cool knife. VG10 steel, which is an interesting choice. I like it a lot, but there are some things that I would do to change it. We're going to put it in B tier. Very, very cool knife. B tier. Next up, the Holtzman's Gorilla Survival Silverback. I just reviewed this one not too long ago. Very, very cool knife. There's a lot I like about this knife. The price is not one of those things. This is a knife this is one of the few knives that I think is actually successful at being a small survival knife. Normally, I do not like survival knives that have a blade less than 5 inches, but this knife here is built in such a way, and it's designed in such a way that this actually does function as a small survival knife, which I think is really, really cool. Very, very cool knife. I do have some issues with it, though. We're going to put it in B tier. Very, very cool knife. I've actually, do you guys remember the little Humvee knife that I reviewed like a month or two ago that I said was the worst knife I've ever reviewed on the channel? Well, I lost the knife. Somehow. It might turn up one of these days, but there's the sheath. It's an F tier. Yeah, that's an F tier. No questions asked. That thing's just absolutely horrible. Look at how beautiful it's going to be here tonight, guys. Let me get out of the way. I just love my area. It's just so beautiful out here. Okay. Let's grab this guy. This is the Vosteed H-Back. And this is a really, really cool knife. Again, I haven't carried this knife in a while just because I have so many other knives to carry, but this is a very, very neat knife. Very smart design. I reviewed this, I guess, quite a while ago at this point. This is a fun knife. I like the proportions. I like the price. Yeah, it's hard to go wrong with this one. It's a very, very sweet little knife. Super recommendable. Geez, compared to a lot of the other stuff on the table, it is a little bit plain, maybe a little bit lackluster. Not really, but it's a very, very good knife. I'm putting it in B tier. And remember, B tier is still good. B tier is great. These are awesome knives. Okay, let's grab this knife. This is the Civivi Stormridge, which is a knife that I do really like. I really enjoyed carrying this knife. You can see how far Civivi's come on their sheaths when compared to that Stonefish. I do like the aesthetics of this knife. It's, kind of like a tactical knife, but it works very, very well as an EDC. Super, super thin, full flat grind. This is a slicing beast. Very, very cool knife. One that I'm definitely really, really happy that I got the chance to carry and use. I think this one's also going to be a B tier. That one's also going to be a B tier. That one's like a B plus. Okay, let's grab this thing. This is an Ozark Trail knife, and for Christmas a little bit ago, my parents got me and my two younger brothers, my youngest brother's still in high school. My other brother just graduated like a week ago, at the time of recording. And, like 2 Christmases ago, of course, they're still home and stuff, and I went home to visit, and my dad got us all this Ozark Trail knife set, and it came with 3 fixed blades, and so me and my 2 brothers each got one. This is the one that I got. It's a cool knife. It's very aggressive, super sharp, actually. Hollow grind. Nothing amazing. These wooden scales are kind of rattling around. The sheath is pretty horrible, but, it's got a lot of sentimental value, I guess. Still, though, just kind of looking at this, for what it is, I'm going to have to put this in E tier, I think. We're going to have to put it in E tier, which is kind of a shame. But yeah, E tier. Okay, let's grab another Ozark Trail. This is one that my grandpa gave me. Why does it have 2 retention clasps? I have no idea. Actually, the retention in the sheath itself is actually kind of good. There's the knife, wooden scales, pin construction, hollow ground blade. I actually really do like the ergos on this. This is actually a very, very nice little design. The wood feels unfinished, but the blade does cut, pretty well. It's nothing fancy. It's an Ozark Trail. The steel is not amazing, but it's a cool knife. It's not necessarily something I would say is a go-to, but it's a knife. I'm actually going to put it in D tier. I was thinking about C tier, but we're going to put it in D tier. I think that makes more sense. Let's grab... Oh, here's another Civivi. This one is one that's definitely going to be given away. This is the Civivi Modern Hunter. I carried this knife a lot at the beginning of the year. The end of 2025, beginning of 2026, I was carrying this knife a lot. Very unique knife. You got a hollow ground spine with kind of a Scandi grind with a secondary bevel on there. Weird dongle on the handle, but this knife just works very, very well. This is a knife that I could see being an absolutely excellent bird and trout knife. I did not get a chance to use it in that way, but very, very cool knife. I'm actually really impressed with this one. I think this is a very, very fun design for sure. Sheath's a little bit weird because it still has this little thing because there's another knife that has like the same handle, but it has a pocket clip on the handle, and when you pull it out of your pocket, this is supposed to catch in your pocket. And anyways, maybe I'll review that knife one of these days. This is a really cool one, and I'm struggling. Should I put this in A tier or B tier? Actually, we're going to put this in A tier. That's how impressed I am with that knife. Again, it's one of those knives that kind of breaks the mold, does something a little bit different, and I always respect that. I think that's a cool knife. We'll put it in A tier. I think it's earned it. Alrighty, next up, the Jackalope from Exodus Knife and Tool, made by White River Knives. I love how colorful this one is. I love the little leather sheath and the red Kydex. This is a very cool knife. I actually need to tighten down the retention on the Kydex. It's kind of loosening up right now, but this is a very, very cool knife. This is a super fun knife. I remember this was a knife that I wasn't sure I'd know how to feel about it when I first got it. Started using it, carrying it, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. This is a great little hiking companion knife. And yeah, if I didn't have so many other stuff to review, this is a knife that I think would be kind of in my rotation pretty regularly. Amazing knife. A tier. Next up, we have the TKL Knives Accomplice. I don't think they make this anymore. This one's an ABL steel. Again, a knife that I wasn't sure I would like. I wasn't sure this had a spot in my EDC. Started carrying it and using it. I realized, oh my gosh, this thing's special. This thing's awesome. And I'm so glad I gave it a chance because, yeah, this is an absolutely incredible mid-size fixed blade knife. Excellent, excellent sheath. I love this knife a lot. Is it A tier or S tier? I'm going to put it in A tier. Just because that S tier, there's only going to be a few knives that go in there. That's a very competitive tier, and rightfully so. All right, next up we have my final half-face blades. This is the I almost call it the Spartan. It's not called the Spartan. This is the Extremis. I love this knife. I love the, Black Dune carbon fiber scales. I love the aggressive aggro blade. I do like the sheath on this one better than the other off-grid or half-face blades sheaths. This is a very badass little knife. I love the ergos. It fits my hand so well. Not the best EDC fixed blade. This is definitely aimed more at self-defense. But this knife just has so much aura. It's just such a cool freaking knife. I love this knife so much. We're going to put it in A tier as well. It's a great knife. All right, the most expensive knife that I currently own, I believe. Yeah. This is the Dan Peters Full Tang Tactical. And there's a lot that I love about this knife. It's rugged. It's kind of rustic. I do like all the swedging. I like the scale. Oh, actually, look at that. We got matching knives. Oh, that's kind of cool. We have to go on an adventure with those two knives and make some videos about it because aesthetics. This is an awesome knife. A lot of work went into this. This is basically a custom. It is not my style at all. CPM 3V, I love this size. And the one thing about this knife that makes it hard for me to carry it all the time is this secondary swedge up here that has the sharpened edge. And the reason is, you don't want a baton on that. It gets very thin, right? And, this is kind of more of a tactical fighting knife. It's an amazing knife. I love this knife. But I am going to put it in B tier. Again, just because for me, it doesn't meet all of my needs. All right, let's grab this knife next. This is the Swisstech Exact. Cool little knife. You can get this with the the Lodern kit, which I do love the little bag and a lot of stuff that comes with that kit. The knife is... I'm not a huge fan of this knife. It's kind of a dud, to be honest. Is it a D tier or C tier knife? It does some things really well. Like, it's built well. I even like this little cheap sheath that they have with it. This is actually a well-done sheath for this style. I spit all over the place. My biggest problem with the knife are the ergos and the... You know what? It's got to be a C tier. This is giving me a lot of the same kind of vibes as that. We're going to put it in C tier. Okay. Cold Steel Recon Tonto. This is a fun knife. This one's an SK5 steel, obviously based on the SRK platform, which I really like. We'll see some of them in a little bit. Actually, we might go through them. Actually, you know what? We will go through my SRKs after this. This is a very interesting knife. And again, this is one of those knives that I wasn't sure I would like when I first got it. Because I was like, what am I going to use this for as an outdoorsman in the American West? And I've actually found some good uses for it. Like, this knife has really kind of impressed me. There's a lot to like about this knife. Is it my go-to? No, absolutely not. But there is a lot about that I like. And I do respect this knife a lot. We're going to put it in B tier. All right. Let's go through my SRKs. We're going to try and make this fast. I have so many videos about the SRK and why I love it, so we're just going to skim through. Here's my basic SRK. I wish I still had my OG SRK, my all-black one that got stolen, an SK5 steel that was from... Man, that was an older knife. I miss that knife so much. I'm going to get more SRKs in the future. That's just the way it's going to work. The SRK and SK5 steel is the best value fixed blade that you can buy. I have said that for years. I will probably continue saying that for years. If you just want one reliable survival / outdoor knife, you only want to buy one, you don't want to spend a lot of money, this is where it's at. A tier. Next up, we've got my CPM 3V SRK. I reviewed this one a couple months ago. I've had this knife for well over a year, using it and abusing it on the trail. I love it. The 3V is it does kind of transform this knife a lot compared to the SK5. I like SK5, and especially the price, that's amazing. But this is a more professional feeling product. I do love that. And especially at the price. I got this on Midway for like 99 bucks. That's pretty cool. That's another S tier, guys. That's another S tier. My SRK Compact, the SRK C. This one's in SK5 steel. This feels so much different when you compare it to the full-size SRK, but it is also just a kick-ass little knife. I also reviewed this one earlier this year. Go check out that video. This knife absolutely kicked ass. I love this knife, guys. This is my go-to recommendation for a small survival knife. This thing is just incredible. This does feel a little more tactical than the SRK. The smaller, slimmer size makes it feel a little more lightweight, a little more, combat focused perhaps. But it is still just an amazing work knife, an amazing outdoor knife, bushcraft knife, survival knife. This thing's incredible. And again, you can get these for like 30 bucks. It's an S tier. My SRKC in CPM 3V steel review coming soon. This is an aftermarket sheath, which I really, really like. I do like the regular cold steel sheath, the regular SRK sheaths. I think they're fine. I have no complaints with them. They're kind of badass, honestly. I prefer a knife that dangles. This one's really got a dangle on it, but everything I said about the SRKC mixed with everything I said about the CPM 3V SRK, that's an S tier. Amazing knives all the way around. I absolutely love those. I love those. Okay, let's grab... Ooh, we'll save that one for just a little bit. Oh, let's go here. Let's go here. The Gerber Strong Arm. I love this knife. I really do. They're overpriced, but they are tanks. I want to get a Magnica one. I also want to get one of the Strong Arm camps just to test and use. This is a knife that I carried when I was doing field camp for my geology degree. I have beaten the crap out of this knife in the field. You can actually see, how my edge is stepping up? It's been sharpened so much. This is also, this is a knife that's kind of on the smaller side, but it packs such a punch. The modularity of the sheath is awesome. The ergos are awesome. The 420 steel is not fancy, but they give you enough of it to get a lot of work done. This is a knife that I have tremendous amounts of respect for. I absolutely love the Gerber Strong Arm. I love the Gerber Strong Arm as much as I hate most other Gerbers. This thing's fantastic. And I have to put it in S tier. I was going to put it in A tier, but I can't. I can't. It's got to go in S tier. That knife, again, just like the outside of the SRK, that is my most carried and used fixed blade ever. And it's time tested. I've put through the ringer. I've had to rely on it with my life. And once you have that much history and experience with a design, I just can't not put it in S tier. That thing's just phenomenal. I love it. I love it so much. All right, let's move on to the Bark River Gunny Sidekick. This is a beautiful knife. A beautiful knife. Possibly the most beautiful fixed blade in my collection. I love the vibes of this knife. I hate the sheath. but I love the vibes of this knife. Now, is this actually CPM 154? I don't know. It is a beautiful knife. It is a knife that one day I do want to... It's been a long time since I've done a hunt. When I do go hunting again, I do want to bring this knife with me to dress out my kill. It's a beautiful knife. Now, the whole Bark River situation, you can't just discount that, right? It's there in my head, and it does take points away from this knife. The sheath also takes massive points away from this knife. But this is a beautiful, beautiful knife. I love this knife a lot. Without the Bark River Scandal, this would probably be an S tier. It might be on the lower end of S tier because I really do not like the sheath. But I'm trying to decide right now between B tier and A tier. It's got to be A tier. You know, call it an A minus if you want. It's got to be an A tier, though. It's just got to be. It's got to be. All right. We are almost kind of sort of done. This is my Artisan Sea Snake in the crappy leather sheath that I made for it several years ago. That sheath is F tier, but the Sea Snake itself, designed by Michael Imler, again, I'm not a huge fan of Wharncliffes when it comes to my folding knives, but you give me a small Wharncliffe fixed blade like the Spew or like this, and I love it. This is an amazing little knife. I love the size. I used to actually carry this knife a lot paired up with a bigger knife, so I'd carry this as a neck knife paired up with like my Cold Steel 8015 or something. And it was kind of fun having like my slicey, fine, detail work knife being a fixed blade, and then my heavy use, aggressive knife being my folder. That just, I thought that was kind of cool. This knife is awesome. I love this knife. Haven't carried it in a while because I've just been busy on other things, but this knife is absolutely, absolutely phenomenal. A tier. Pretty easily. Okay. Lion Steel M5, also somewhat recently reviewed, and a knife that I cannot live without now. This is like the fancier Italian brother to the Gerber Strongarm. Some of the very best G10 scales I've ever felt. A very performance-driven CPM 3V blade on this particular version. This sheath is nothing incredible, but I do have an aftermarket sheath with this knife that has completely changed the game. I love this knife. Check out my full review. The sun's about to set, so I need to pick this up. That's an incredible knife. That's an absolutely incredible knife. S tier. Very, very easily S tier knife. Okay, next up. A knife I haven't shown in a while, but a knife that I really, really love. This is my Gerber. This is my Dimco Free Rein. This one's an Austin drop point. I want to get more Dimco fixed blades, and I want to get some more versions of the Free Rein. I want to try out the Free Rein in 3V. They've got a clip point version now. They've got a drop point, or they've got the Tonto version. They've got a bunch of different versions. I would love to try out a bunch of them. This knife here is really, really awesome. I love the ergos. The sheath, of course, is very, very cool. This knife I actually thought would replace my SRK. And for one whole summer, it basically did. I stopped carrying the SRK in favor of this knife so I could test it and review it and stuff. And if you guys have not seen the full review of this knife, I might actually re-release it. I split it into two parts, and they're both an hour and a half long. I might release a full length, 3 hour long version of the review. Let me know if you guys want to see that. Obviously, if you made it this far into this video, you don't mind watching long reviews. You don't mind hearing me ramble about knives forever, but that was a great review. I took it out in the woods. It was beating on it a lot. This is an amazing knife, but it did not replace the SRK. I still went back to the SRK, and this is a knife that I really, really love. I have not carried it in a while just because I've had so many other great things to review. part of me is kind of thinking that this should go in A tier. No, I am going to put it in S tier. Yeah, we're gonna leave it there. It's an amazing knife. It's an amazing knife, and I think the only reason I'm hesitating is because I haven't carried it in a while. And that's kind of a shame. But that's just because I've had so many other knives to carry and review and use. But yeah, that knife is awesome. I do love the ergos. I love the blade, and I do think that a CPM 3V version of that might actually be the perfect fixed blade for me. Because now that I'm thinking about it, it does have like a lot of things that I like about the Lion Steel M5 mixed with the vibes of the Cold Steel SRK. I need to carry my free rein more because honestly, yeah, that's a badass knife. Okay, let's keep trucking. This is the Gerber Freeman. And this is a perfectly fine little budget fixed blade. I don't think they make these anymore. Hollow ground 7CR blade. Nice rubberized, contoured handles. Jimping for days. This is a very, very cool knife. The sheath is kind of dumb. It's a little bit more clunky than it needs to be. It's not the worst thing ever, but this is a very, very cool knife. Very usable. These were like $20 when they were around. I'm going to put that in C tier. That's a very, very solid knife. Next up, the Sincut Waxahachie. I love this knife. This is one of the best Sincuts ever made, and they discontinued it. These were so affordable. 9CR clip point blade. My Micarta scales on this one. The ergos are so simple, but they work so well. The sheath is, nothing fancy, but it's got good retention and it works fine. This is a knife I haven't carried in a while, but several years ago, I was carrying this all over the place. This was like my very first time carrying an EDC fixed blade that wasn't a neck knife regularly. Of course, I would carry fixed blades out when I was backpacking, camping, hiking, hunting, stuff like that. But this was the first knife that I was like, okay, I'm going to carry a fixed blade on my belt around town. This was the first one I did that with. And this made me fall in love with fixed blades again. It made me want to start exploring more fixed blades. I love the Waxahachie. That thing's excellent, and that's an A tier. They should never have discontinued that. I think that's one of the very best budget fixed blades that you could buy. Such a good knife. Such a freaking good knife. I cannot stress enough how freaking awesome that knife is. Okay, what else do we have in here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 there, and then we've got a couple over here. Yeah, okay. Let's grab this one real quick. Gideon, that's a spork. Think again, sucker. Yeah, this is an Ozark Trail eating utensil that is also a whistle. Holy shit. That whistle's kind of loud. I was really not expecting it to work like that. To my great chagrin, I did actually end up using this fairly recently. I got an enchilada plate from a lady that I worked with, and I went to eat it at my other job, and I didn't have any utensils. And then I remembered that I have this Ozark Trail hiking survival kit in my truck that I've been meaning to make a video on for 2 years. And this was in there, so I went and got that out and used this to eat my enchiladas. Amazing. Amazing green chili enchiladas. Anyways, good stuff. The knife is absolutely horrible. There's no tip on there. The sharpening is all over the place. I think that this idea in and of itself is probably pretty bad. I mean, you want to put it in its sheath if you're going to be using it as a spoon. Like, you don't want to be holding onto a blade while you're trying to eat, right? But it really doesn't stay in the sheath all that well. It doesn't stay in the whistle very nicely. Actually, right there, that still rattles around a little bit. Yeah, that's a pretty terrible design. It works fine as a spoon and a spork, but yeah, we're gonna put that in F tier. I think that's a really weird design, and especially as far as the knife portion goes, it's not good. It's not good at all. So we'll put that in F tier. Video coming on that soon. Okay, here's a knife that I tried to give away to one of my channel members, and they didn't want it. So I've just been like hanging on to it. This is a knife that I have not thought about in forever. This is the QSP Canary. Is this a Canary XL? I can't remember. Now they got the small Canary, and then they've got the Canary folder. Anyways, I want to actually try out the small neck knife, especially. Every time I've gone to Blade Show and stuff, I've handled them. I'm like, oh, these are kind of neat. The folder is whatever. This knife here was very disappointing to me. I feel like it was way too back heavy. Just felt kind of awkward. I didn't really like the ergos. Super thick. The blade here is... I can't remember. I think this is like a DC 53 equivalent. We have to look that up. You know, it's a good shape, but this knife just... It's just very lacking for me. You can check out the full review for that. It's fine. See, this is a knife that I kind of want to put in C tier, but it is actually better than a lot of the C tier stuff. We're going to put it in B tier. That's the only place it can go. It's in B tier. Like, it's a good knife. It's better than a lot of the... Like, there's nothing particularly, like, wrong with the build quality or anything. It's just, I think that the balance is off. I think it's a little bit awkward in my hand. I'm not the biggest fan of this knife. I know some other people that are, and if you're a fan of this knife, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. It might just be personal preference. This is a B minus. B minus. It's a fine knife, but B minus. All right, next up, we have another Ozark Trail knife. I was also given this by, I think one of my brothers gave me this. Cool little like recurve blade. Got almost like a Copus handle going on here. Rubberized plastic. Very basic sheath. This thing's fun. This thing's cool. I actually have taken this out and used it just because it's not amazing. There's really nothing wrong with it. I'm going to put it in C tier. Alright guys, let's finish this list up before it gets dark. Oh. It's been a long day. Someone just came by walking their dog, and I think I've said this before in videos. I make no pretenses about the fact that what I do on YouTube is kind of cringe. And so I try and come out to very remote places to do stuff like this, because I realize I can come off looking like a serial killer. Here I am, out in the desert, with a truck bed full of knives. I might not come off as the, safest type of person to be around, I suppose, so, yeah. Every once in a while when I'm out here, someone will come by, like, driving their four-wheelers down the road, or in the case of this lady, they park their cars way down and then walk their dogs up this way. And whenever that happens, I try and, like, turn the camera off and just kind of pretend like I'm not a crazy person. Anyways, let's finish this list. So, yeah, we've got just a few more knives to go through, and they are all kind of crazy. So we're actually going to save some of the craziest ones for last. Let's go to this knife real quick. I've talked about this knife several times on the channel. This was a knife that I always wanted when I was a kid. Finally got it when I was in college. This is from Elk Ridge. This is such a cool knife. Right? Look at that. That's awesome. I do love this knife. I think it looks really, really cool. The fin finish is a little bit, shaky. It's not the most well-made knife out there, but just like the other Elk Ridge we showed, I think it's well enough made, and I'm going to put it in C tier. Again, that's a knife that would be a lot higher if we're just going off my emotions, but that's a C tier knife. I love that knife a lot. Okay, now let's go ahead and get into some very, very cool knives. We'll do all three of these in one go because they're all kind of related. The Off-Grid Sidekick. One of my favorite small fixed blades. This thing's incredible. I love this knife. Can't get enough of this thing. Fits my hand like a glove. One of the most comfortable knives I have ever felt. Yeah, we really gotta finish. Sun's setting, wind's blowing, people are calling me. What's going on, right? Okay, so the Sidekick. I love this knife. I'm debating on whether it's an S tier or an A tier. I kind of want to. It's close, but we're going to put it in A tier. That is an A++. Next, my newest one. The Tracker XXL. I love this knife. This has been going adventuring with me a lot recently. I love Off-Grid's Cryo D2. You guys will be seeing a lot of content with this knife. You'll be seeing a lot of videos with this knife. You'll be getting lots and lots of info on this knife coming soon. So that's a great one. I love that one. That one's also an A+. And then, of course, we have the Backcountry. This is an S tier. I love this knife so much. This is, gosh, I don't even know. I've also made a lot of videos about this knife. You guys can go check those out to see how much I love this knife. Go check out my Off-Grid Knives playlist if you want. In fact, if you're curious about any of the knives you've seen today, check out my channel playlist, search by brand, and it'll come up. This thing's incredible. Absolutely love this knife. Love the ergos, love the build quality. The Cryo D2 is just amazing. That's an awesome, awesome knife. S tier. Next up, one of the crazy knives. This is the Civivi Aratra. I haven't reviewed this yet. I am going to review this in 2026, though. That is my goal. I've had this knife for years. I have actually used it. I have taken this knife backpacking with me. I have a couple videos of me on the channel, like chopping wood with it. It is kind of a beast. Is it practical? I don't know how practical it is. But you can actually use it for things. Like, it's not practical. It's so audacious, and the fact that you can technically use it for things makes me love it a lot. A tier. Ooh, we got 2 knives left. What order do I want to do these in? Let's see, do we have 2? Gotta check. Make sure. Yes, we just have these 2 left. Okay. All right. Let's do it. Let's do this one. The White River Ursus Cub. Oh, thank you, Wind. This is my favorite EDC fixed blade of all time. One of my favorite fixed blades of all time. One of my favorite knives of all time. This thing is just freaking amazing. We got an Armitage sheath right now. We're rocking some Carol custom scales. I like the stock scales on this knife too. To be honest, they're really, really good in my opinion as well. Amazing ergos. Amazing Magnum Cut blade. This thing's a winner in every way. I freaking love that knife. Made in the USA. That is one that this is going to be a part of my collection forever. S tier. S tier. And our oh, I just remembered there's a knife that oh, jeez. I should have included my spear in this video. You know what? I'll put in a clip right here talking about that spear. Alright, I know you guys are thinking, no way this video can get any longer, but you are wrong. It can and it will. Let's go over here to my closet. is it? Aha. Ah, crap. Ta-da! Okay, this is one of the weirdest, maybe most controversial things that I own. But let's talk about it. Yeah, I know. The angle's horrible, but here we have my SOG HQ Shadow Spear in 420 steel. I've owned this for a while at this point. My unboxing of this item is actually my most watched video that I've ever made. And I think because of that, I've kind of been resistant to making another video about this because I got some seriously brain dead comments in that video of people like trying to take this thing seriously. This is not a serious item. The tip is very bent. The sharpening on this thing freaking sucks. I mean, right here, the bevel, it looks like it starts right here. It doesn't. It actually starts right here because it's so thick that the bevel on either side doesn't even meet until you get this far up on the edge. Super thick. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, that's a boar hunting spear. Ha, ha, ha. What? I'd want a longer haft. I'd want bigger prongs out here. I know. Some people do boar hunting with spears and whatever, and that's cool and stuff, but this is a $50 spear from Tractor Supply. It's not that high quality. This is Mall Ninja garbage. There were people in the comment section of that video saying, you know, oh, I just got myself one for a walking stick while I'm hiking. Great self-defense weapon. Come on, guys. Come on. Someone was saying that they want to use this when they're hiking in case they have to fight a bear. No. And so a lot of the brain dead comments on that video have kind of made me not want to make any more videos with this, but I do still have it. I will say this might make for a compelling self-defense weapon. Back when I lived in my old place with my old roommates, obviously we all thought it was funny that I had a spear in my room. And the joke was, so I was the only one in the house for a time. I had my spear, and then also I was the only one in the house who was a gun owner, right? And so, you know, we'd always joke that, you know, if there was an intruder, it was my responsibility to take him out. You know, that was my role in the house. And then I got this spear, and I started saying, you know, honestly, I think this is a better self-defense weapon than the shotgun. You know, the shotgun has the benefit of the psychological stop. You know, you go, you might scare someone off just from the sound and presentation of the weapon. You might not even have to shoot anybody. That's awesome. My hair is a mess. It's because it is like 110 degrees in here. My swamp cooler is broken. Working on fixing that. Whole ordeal. Last night, also, the cops were, oh my gosh, last night was absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. 1 a.m. in the morning, cops are all over my freaking neighborhood. Whatever. I'm not going to get into that. Anyways, back to the story I was telling. You know, I said that this would be a great psychological stop. Imagine someone breaks into our house with ill intent. Obviously, I'm not sure if anyone breaks into a house with good intentions. But anyway, someone breaks into our house. They're a burglar. They're rummaging around. And then all of a sudden, bam, there I am in the hallway, half lit in my flashlight beam, completely naked, holding a spear. If you're a burglar, you're getting the hell out of that house. I guarantee it. Naked man with a spear? That's a pretty crazy psychological stop. Anyways, what do I think about this thing? It's dumb. It's fun. I will say a lot of my enthusiasm for this, once again, got killed by the fact that so many people that watched that video I made were taking it so seriously. I forget that there's a lot of people in this world that just stopped aging at 12. And I think I'm one of them. I think I'm one of them. I've got a very immature sense of humor. I'm a pretty immature guy, but
I feel like I can at least realize that a $50 spear from Tractor Supply is not something that I want to take with me when I fight a bear. Guns are way better than spears, guys. I'm sorry, I just have to tell you. Where to rank this? Now, all the smack that I have talked about the build quality, it is technically a spear. And, you know, it's not the worst thing ever. The other thing people were saying, too, is they're like, oh, it's not supposed to be sharp. It's a spear. That's one of the dumbest myths I've ever heard. People saying, oh, spears and swords, they're not meant to be sharp. They're not meant to be sharp. Ha, 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 ha. Yes, they are. Yes, they frickin' are. Anyways, this thing is not great. But I don't think it's the worst thing ever. So, we're going to put it... We're going to put it in D tier. We're going to put it in D tier. It's fun, not practical, but it's fun. So we'll put it in D tier. Thank you for coming to this movie.
All right, and the last knife we're taking a look at today, guys, you probably know what it is. The Work Tough Night Hunter. This thing... I mean, you just feel like you're freaking Conan the Barbarian when you hold this. Absolutely love this knife. Is it practical? No. But this is rule of cool all the way. It doesn't have to be practical. This thing's a beast. I cannot wait till you guys see the full review on this. I have chopped some absolutely stupid things with this knife. It's a cool one. I love it. S tier. S tier. And there we go. Holy smokes, that was a lot of knives. This is going to be an insanely long video. I think this video is only going to be rivaled by the video that I make when I rank all of my liner lock knives. That one's going to be a long video too. But there we go, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I'm not going to keep you any longer. Big shout out to my channel members at the Cowboy level. I appreciate everything they do for the channel. If you want to become a member and support me directly, there's a link down below. As for the rest of you hooligans, if you enjoyed the video, leave it a like, comment below, and subscribe. I've been Gideon, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.